So this is extract 28 of Terry Pratchett's Truckers. The gnomes weren't in a position to take much notice of anything at the time. They were more concerned with the noise made by other things nearly hitting them as they drove along. Masculine had been prepared for other vehicles on the road. The highway code had a lot to say about it. It was important not to drive into them. What was worrying him, however, was the way they seemed determined to run into the lorry. They emitted long, blaring noises like sick cows. "Left a bit!" Angelo shouted. Then right just a smidgen, then go straight!" "Smidgen?" said the Snigler slowly. I don't think we have a code for smidgen. Could we slow? Now left a bit. We've got to get on that right side of the road." Grimmer peered up over the top of the highway code. "We are on the right side," she said. "Yes, but the right side should be the left side." Masculine jabbed at the page in front of them. "It says here we've got to show consideration," murmured Grimmer. "That's it. Consideration for other road users," he said. A jolt threw him forward. "What was that?" he said. "Us going onto the pavement. Right! Right!" Masculine caught a brief glimpse of a brightly lit shop window before the lorry hit it sideways on and bounced back onto the road in a shower of glass. Now left, now right, right, straight, left, I said left!" Angelo peered at the bewildering pattern of lights and shapes in front of them. "There's another road there," he said. "Left, give me left, lots and lots of left, more left than that." "There's a sign," said Masculine helpfully. "Left!" shrieked Angelo. Now, right, right, right." "You wanted left," said the signaller accusingly. "And now I want right, lots of right. Oh, duck! We haven't got a signal for..." This time, woomph wouldn't have done it for the sound. It was definitely bang. The lorry hit a wall, ground along it in a spray of sparks, and rolled into a pile of dustbins. It then stopped. There was silence, except for the hissing sounds and the pink, pink noises from the engine. Then Dorcas's voice came up from the darkness, slow and full of menace. "Would you mind telling us down here," it said, "what you are doing up there?" "We'll have to think of better ways of steering," Angelo called down. And lights. There should be a switch somewhere for lights." Masculine struggled to his feet. The lorry appeared to be stuck in a dark, narrow road. There were no lights anywhere. He helped Gerda stand up and brushed him down. The stationary looked bewildered. "We're there?" he said. "Not quite," said Masculine. "We've stopped to sort out a few things. And while we're doing that, I think we'd better go back and check that everyone's all right. We must be getting pretty worried. You come too, Grimmer." They climbed down and left Angelo and Dorcas deep in argument about steering, lights, clear instructions, and the need for a proper supply of all three. There was a gabble of voices in the back of the lorry, mixed with the crying of quite a few babies. Several of the gnomes had been bruised by the throwing about, and Granny Morky was tying a splint to the broken leg of a gnome who had been caught by a falling box when they hit the wall. "Wee bit rougher than the last time," she commented dryly, tying a knot in the bandage. "Why have we stopped?" "Just to sort out a few things," said Masculine, trying to find more cheerful than he felt. "We'll be moving along again soon. Now that everyone knows what to expect." He gazed down at the dark, shadowy length of the lorry, and inquisitiveness overcame him. "While we're waiting," he said, "I'm going to just take a quick look outside," he said. "What on earth for?" said Grimmer. "Just to, look around," said Masculine awkwardly. He nudged Gerda. "Want to come?" he said. "What? Outside? Me?" The stationary looked terrified. "Well, you have to sooner or later, so why not now?" Gerda hesitated for a moment and then shrugged. "Will we be able to see the store?" He licked his dry lips. "From the outside?" he said. Probably. We haven't really gone very far, said Masklin, as diplomatically as he could manage. A team of gnomes helped them over the end of a lorry, and they swung down onto what Gerda would almost certainly have called the floor. It was damp, and a fine spray hung in the air. Masklin breathed deeply. This was outside, all right. Real air, with a slight chill to it. It smelt fresh, not as though it had been breathed by thousands of gnomes before him. Oh, the sprinklers have come on, said Gerda. The what? The sprinklers, said Gerda. They're in the ceiling, you know, in case of... He stopped and looked up. Oh my, he said. I think you mean the rain, said Masklin. Oh my. It's just water coming out of the sky, said Masklin. He felt something more was expected of him. It's wet, he added. You can drink it. Rain? You don't have to have pointy heads, it just rolls off anyway. Oh my. Are you all right? Gerda was trembling. But there's no roof, he moaned. It's so big. Masklin patted him on the shoulder. Of course, all this is new to you, he said. You mustn't worry if you don't understand everything. You're secretly laughing at me, aren't you? Said Gerda. Not really. I mean, I know what it's like to feel frightened. Gerda pulled himself together. Frightened? Me? Don't be foolish. I'm quite all right, he said. I'm just a little, surprised. I wasn't expecting it to be so outside. Now I've had time to come to terms with it, I feel much better. Well. So this is what it's like. He turned the word around over in his mouth, like a new sweet. Outside. So, it's big. Is this all of it? Or is there any more? Lots, said Masklin. Where we lived, there was nothing but outside from one edge of the world to the other. Oh, said Gerda weakly. Well, I think this will be enough outside to be going on with. Very good. Masklin turned and looked up at the lorry. It was almost wedged in an alleyway littered with rubbish. There was a large dent in the end of it. The opening at the far end of the alley was bright with street lights in the drizzle. As he watched, a vehicle swished by with a blue light flashing. It was singing. He couldn't think of any other word to describe it. How odd, said Gerda. Well, it used to happen sometimes at home, said Masklin. It was secretly rather pleasing after all this time to be the one who knew things. You'd hear ones go along the motorway like that. Dee-da, 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 dee-da. I think it's just to get people to get out of the way. They crept along the gutter and craned to look over the pavement at the corner, just as another bawling car hurtled past. Oh, bargains galore, said Gerda, and put his hands over his mouth. The store was on fire. Flames fluttered at some of the upper windows like curtains in a breeze. A pall of smoke rose gently from the roof and made a darker column against the rainy sky. The store was having its last sale. It was holding a grand final clearance of specially selected sparks and flames to suit every pocket. Humans bustled around in the street below it. There were a couple of lorries with ladders on them. It looked as though they were spraying water onto the building. Masklin looked sidelong at Gerda, wondering what the gnome was going to do. In fact, he took it a lot better than Masklin would have believed, but when he spoke, it was in a wound-up way, as if he was trying to keep his voice level. It's not how I imagined it, he croaked. No, said Masklin. We got out just in time. Yes. Gerda coughed. It was as if he'd just had a long debate with himself and had reached a decision. Thanks to Arnold Brothers, established 1905, he said firmly. Pardon? Gerda looked at Masklin's face. If he hadn't called you to the store, we'd still be in there, he said, sounding more confident with every word. But Masklin paused. That didn't make any sense. If they hadn't left, there wouldn't have been a fire, would there? Well, hard to be sure. Maybe some fire had got out of a fire bucket. Best not to argue. There were some things people weren't happy to argue about, he thought. It was all very puzzling. Funny he's letting the store burn, he said. He needn't. There's the sprinklers, and there's these special things to make the fire go out. Fire exits, they're called. But I suppose he let the store burn because we don't need it anymore. There was a crash as the entire top floor fell in on itself. Well, there goes consumer accounts, said Masklin. I hope all the humans got out. Who? You know, we saw their names on the doors. Salaries, accounts, personnel, general manager, said Masklin. Oh, I'm sure Arnold Brothers, established 1905, made arrangements, said Gerda. Masklin shrugged. And then he saw, outlined against the firelight, the figure of Prices Slashed. There was no mistaking that hat. He was even holding his torch, and he was deep in conversation with some other humans. When he half turned, Masklin saw his face. He looked very angry. He also looked very human. Without the terrible light, without the shadows of the store at night, Prices Slashed was just another human. On the other hand, no, it was too complicated, and there were more important things to do. Come on, he said, let's get back. I think we should get as far away as possible, as quickly as we can. I shall ask Arnold Brothers, established 1905, to guide us and lead us, said Gerda firmly. Yeah, good, said Masklin. Good idea. And why not? But now we really must. Has his sign not said, if you do not see what you require, please ask, said Gerda. Masklin took him firmly by the arm. Everyone needs something, he thought, and you never know.